Hello, g'day. Hello, hello. Is it working? Oh, I can't see my little thing come up. Hello. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Good. I can see it moving now. Let me know if there's any sound problems, please. Thank you for joining. This is a medical cannabis program, and I respect the law, and I hope you do too. Today is a big one about feeding times and nutrients. It was a request from Jono Who Cares, who's put a lot of effort into some questions. So we'll get through to them and show some slides and shed some light on it, as well as going through some virgin stuff. That's just amazing. And then Elon Musk, good on him. Just everybody supports it, except for the government in Australia. A lot of other places, but I'm not getting into the politics because it's not really a fun time. I like to keep it fun. So I'll give it another 40 seconds to 2 minutes just for other folk to arrive if they want, so they can ask questions too. So if you want, just skip ahead 3 seconds. I haven't got my tablet on either to know what's going on with it when I share any questions. There's Genetic Memory Farms. How are you, mate? It says, good evening, peeps. Hope you're all safe and stoned. And g'day to Aaron Hopkins. How are you, mate? Nice to see you. And I'm not sure if you all can scroll up, but there's quite a few questions asked from Jono Who Cares, who says, good morning from Thailand. Yes, good morning to you over there. So I'm not sure. I haven't even read the questions yet. I saw some about nutrients, a few about feeding. So I'll get through to that soon. Holy mackerel, there's quite a few. So I'll start the show and then I'll get into them a little bit later. Does that sound all right, mate? I hope that does, because otherwise I won't end up doing the show. Because it's not very big today. There's not much really overly planned. All right, let's share the screen. So I can start with, this is pretty cool for all those folk in Australia. Finally, there's some studies that you can do in Australia. So TAFE College have a medical cannabis cultivation course that you can do. So it's the first one that's been offered in Australia, about blooming time. The only problem is, I'll scroll down here a bit. At least it's a good start. So for people, because a lot of licensed producers here, and they don't know who to employ. So at least this will give them the first up. They'll be able to get in there straight away. That's the bit that I wasn't real happy about. The pilot program will enroll between 12 and 18 students. But again, it's good that they've started somewhere. I just can't believe that 12 to 18. But anyway, good on them. So it's starting some TAFE College in Ballarat, in Victoria. And they found this pretty interesting. This was about Bubba's Kush. And it says that the name, so this whole ad is about in Colorado, how it's now becoming a ghost town because of the getting larger, and et cetera, et cetera. But it's about where Bubba Kush come from. And he named his company Bubba Kush after his blue-nosed pit bull terrier Bubba. That's not where Bubba Kush come from. I thought this might be interesting to throw in here too, because the article wasn't real interesting about. That's not where I blew them. Oh, well, let's go to the next one. That wasn't very good. If only I could go back a bit. This is what's going to be shown today. So it's not a great deal, but there's some cool ones about, some slides about Virgin, about what they're getting up to, as you can see there. So I'll go through a few starts, get onto them. So this is in Australia. So he's the leader of the legalised cannabis party in Western Australia. And I put this up because of everyone's focused on bloody money. And there's no focus at all on education or research, as you'll soon see. And it's real sad. The more I read it and get into it, it's all about blooming money, about they can do this with money and that. And I know you've got to do it from somewhere, but at least mention about increasing, helping health and helping. It's just really upsetting. Like here, this is a active medical cannabis establishment licenses. I think it was for last year in Mississippi. And you can see there's quite a few. That's good. But you get down here to research and development, none. So it's just sad with the amount of education that's needed. Anyway, that's my little snippet. I'm going to go on about it. And this is Argentina. Congratulations. They look to legalise it soon. And a funny thing I put after it is, this is more spots for Australia to import from. So good on Argentina. That's some pretty fat looking doobs, isn't it? Look at that. Holy mackerel. They're the big trumpets that you usually do for a few people. Look at these things. They're like weapons. All right, next. This is the top strains 50 years ago. So if you were trying to score something 50 years ago, this is what you've been competing with. And I remember there was a lot of sinsemilla around. Sinsemilla is the word in Spanish for Spanish word for seedless, so no seeds. So you always had to say, is it sinsemilla? That's what I remember. And a book that I got in early 90s it was, or middle 80s, it says that the Congolese was 6% THC tested. Is that even here? And it was one of the world's highest at the time. 6% THC. See, look at this quality. Unbelievable how things have changed. Next. Oh, this was put in just for a cannabinoids reference. I thought it was pretty easy to understand, and it says exactly what the three different types of cannabinoids are. Because cannabinoids now, they're just calling that as the government synthetic ones. So we've got to say phytocannabinoids if we're talking about the ones that come off the plants that are naturally occurring in the plants. Then there's endocannabinoids, as you know, which is in us. And there's two different breakdowns of them. Naturally occurring also, in animals as well. That's why it works not only with humans but animals, because they've all got these. And the government ones are the neocannabinoids. That's been banned in 3 US states. So that tells me enough to stay away. And actually, I was reading something I didn't include today that said that some poor country has made a multi-million-dollar purchase of these neocannabinoids from one of the governments. I think it was US government or something like that. So it's just sad that, it's got to go down that way. That's just what that does. That's I'm not going to say those names of those, the bad companies, the pharmacological companies, those ones, the big ones, starts with B and M. Those ones, they will be processing and on top of all of this because they want all the problems to come out of that, so then they can create the cure for this and tell people how bad and et cetera, et cetera. This was a interesting little chart. This is a bioinsecticide chart. So as you can use it for, if you want fungicide, you can see there's trichoderma there, or bacillus, some different versions of bacillus, different species, not versions. And here, trichoderma hazarium is one I use. And they're the different numbers if you're going to order it from the actual company to get the individual one. But you can get them in other things and possibly by themselves online if you just do a little bit of research. Nematodes, insecticides. Bavaria bassiana is a really good one. Creates white musculin disease. Yeah, I just thought that was a pretty little, nice, interesting, positive chart. Hey, man, look at him puffing away. Isn't that a spin out? Elon Musk was blazing up on camera with Joe Rogan a few years back. But yeah, he supports it. This is just a little quick thing. This is off topic, but I thought I'd throw it in. Non-compacted soil or compacted soil. So if your substrates, regardless of what they are, because it could be anything, if you've got it heavily compacted, this is what happens to the roots. So you can see the roots just aren't able to get a gas exchange well enough. And the roots are looking for oxygen too. And there might be little fine aggregates or little particles of water around it. And here you can see they're going to breathe a lot better because it's 10,000 times slower for roots to get oxygen out of water than it is to get out of the air. So you can see these nice lateral roots forming, nice root hairs, then this little tiny bunched up one. But it's a big bulk density is important. Compaction of the substrates. I should see who's here today. This is a nice little breeding thing. Explaining genetics through a family tree gummy bears. Actually, I've got a couple of them. I'll just say g'day. First, I have to go up the top still and read Jono Who Cares' stuff. How are you going, Ricky's Radio? I'll see you, mate. They don't. Aaron says they don't want any person with any knowledge or experience to work in their big facilities. Yeah, that's right. Yep, I agree with that. Hello, Blinky. How are you? Aaron says this looks like my cruddy medical cannabis I just received in the mail. Yes. Yeah, no terps, dried to the so-and-so house. So it's not medicinal, just got cannabinoids on it. Better off getting hash if you're in Australia and can afford it. Blinky says, reminds me of my glorious 20s, because Blinky's old, I think. Getting hold of some Durban poison seeds. That's the way, Blinky. What was up to? Oh, that's right, Jono's. I haven't forgotten about you, Jono. I'm just going to whiz through these next ones and we'll come back to your questions, mate, because you've got some rad questions. This is explaining genetics through a family tree of gummy bears. So if you breed a red and a white, the offspring of that in that F1 generation is 50%. So that's what you should expect of the seeds. Then you'll breed that with another cultivar, and then you'll get a mix of that. So you'll see some sort of a mix. So it'll be a 50% of these thrown in different ways. So you see as 50% of the green. Then you'll mix that again with another cultivar, and you'll get this mix. So it'll be 50% of this one, as you'll see on one side, and then a blend of the other three. So it's a brief, good understanding so you can picture it after you go through the different generations of back crossing or crossing it with a different donor or parent. And this is an expression through bananas, similar way. So it shows 7 generations where you're mixing with a nice, healthy banana with a green, wrinkled one. And the offspring of that should be 50%. So the first generation, you're going to get this one. Then they're only going to plant or cross it with one of them, and you get these 4 from the next generation, but they'd choose the good one. And you back cross it with the parent again, and you're still going to get this back cross again. And after 7 times, you're going to get a good outcome. Constant reselection of your desired traits. This is into virgin. I should see if there's any breeding questions first, and then we'll get into this rad virgin stuff. All right, I'll do that just to be polite. I like the news, Jono says. Good on you, mate. Aaron says, unfortunately, this was from an Australian grown medical cannabis farm, and no offence to anyone, but it is an absolute lot of rubbish. Yep. And Jono says, is the green and orange considered S1s? Oh, there was a breeding question. Is the green and orange considered S1? Let's go back and have a look. I'll just share the screen. Share screen. It's about 4 buttons that I click to share the screen. Just so you know. Now, what's the question? Is the green and orange considered S1? There, it's a bit bigger. Is the green and orange considered S1? Green and orange. Oh, no. This is generations. So this will be the first, second, third generation. And then the S's are to do with when you're only using one parent. So you're inbreeding. These would be F generations. And F is Latin for friar, F-R-I-O-R. And that's just been Latin for generations. So it's F1, F2, F3. So you call this, this is the F1 of this generation. Then you're crossing it again. So you're crossing an F1 with a, whatever generation this is. Then you're going to get a F1 cross with this new one. Even if this is an F8, you're still going to get an F1 cross, because the first time that these have been crossed to become a new generation. Then you have to, yeah, I hope that explains your question. I won't get into too much detail because it can become very, I don't want to fill your head with anything that's not suitable. So that's good, no more questions on that. Linky says, Aaron was given 2 bottles of CBD oil for $200. 60 mils was a rip-off. Is this medical? Because if it was, they're really low doses that the medical give, and it's really, CBD should be sourced. You can source it in Australia because it's legal. So try and source it. And there's a particular place on northern New South Wales that sells it, and I'm sure a few people in chat will write, it was medical. Yeah, they've got to give under 10 micrograms per mil to, I don't know, because that's what they've been told. But what really works with different instances is up in the hundreds. So for you to get that, it's going to be virtually impossible through the medical system. But because it's CBD, it's legal. So you can source it where you get like 1 or 200 grams, 1 or 200 micrograms per mil. That's the stuff that, well, it depends what you want to use it for. If you want to use it for hair, remember, we're talking about a few weeks ago, the high doses of CBD you can actually cause hair loss, not hair growth. At what was that, between 4 and 10 or something? Yeah, there's one suggestion. It's just out of Nimbin's the place, but there's the Australian government, remember, they don't know much at all. They're trying to learn from people that don't know jack shit, to be honest. There it is down the bottom. Dave just wrote it. I just don't support that place because I'm not going to say why, but they do have good what you're looking for, Blinky. So you go to that place that Dave's written. Thanks for that, Dave. And that's the go. So I will share that information for it because it helps a lot of people at that place that Dave wrote. Yeah, so there you go, Blinky. There's your answer, mate. So good on you. At least you can stick with the good community and they can help you out. Yeah, it's for 30 mils and it was medical. Yep, see, it is. The Australian medical system needs... I lived in Canada for 5 years and just know the difference. So I'm not talking about just from... I've experienced it and I know how doctors and everybody should be handling things. And in Australia, it's a dead set joke. It's really... That's why I don't like to comment on it too much because it's just so bloody negative. There's not real many things I can say, and the people who I've tried to reach out for, they're not interested. So good luck. But I'll still help out the folk that are in need, especially CBD. That's lit. Yep, thanks for that, Jono. Who cares? Dave, good on you, mate. I should post it. Yeah, there you go on the screen. Blinky says, I'd love to lead to some real shit. My doctor's great with me and open to write scripts, but I need to guide him. Yes, well, the problem isn't really, it's Australia, mate. It's the government aren't allowing and aren't trusting people like myself. So you have to have multiple degrees or a PhD or something. And you know, a PhD, they only do a study on one subject, on one topic. So they might really know how seeds work really well, and they got a PhD in cannabis. That doesn't say much about the whole rest of it. So there's a hell of a lot to learn, mate, and the doctors are doing their best with their 4-hour course they've done. So that just tells them really it works. Because, you know, it's so much more than that with its multi-spectrum CBD. It's cannabinoids and terpene flavonoids. And then you blend them together. So there's heaps of those who have been in it for long, like all these cool people listening, you'll know a lot more than all the prescribers in Australia. And it's sad. But the question, you'll know that already. So to open and write scripts, but I need to guide him. Yes. Well, with CBD, you don't. Because from my understanding, you can just buy it over the counter. So just go to that place that's on the screen and you'll get yourself some good CBD, mate. And it's good quality too. But if you're getting tested here, if this is for work, remember that the medical CBD has no THC in it. But if you're going to get CBD from another source other than medical, make sure you test it if it's for your job, because there's a high chance that it's above the 1% that I think they test for that'll get you in trouble at your work. So keep that in mind if you're going to go to places like this, for instance. Yeah, you need to steer the doctors. Well, the doctors they get steered by the growers, and the growers don't even know jack shit in Australia, mate. So it's a blind leading the blind in Australia. It's kind of good luck at the moment. It'll change, like that course they're starting. You know, they're trying to change. Aaron says, I know it's such a rip-off for the oil I get, and the flour has been all not very good for a while now. Yeah, mate. Yep, that's the Australian medical system. It's just really sad. What's Dave say? Yep, 40 mils, that's good. Hello, sayonara. I said I'd thingo you, didn't I? How do I do that now? I'll look at the stream on YouTube. I'll do that right now. Because yeah, this Australian medical system, it's very slow. They're not interested in speeding things up. It's I don't know how to say it. I did do sayonara. I didn't do blinky. Add as moderator. There you go. I think everybody should be happy. I see Lene there. Hello, Lene. Sayonara. See, we're talking about CBD, or correct? Sayonara. Yes, the stuff you get from the medical. Here you go. Look, the stuff they get from here's the medical price. So you get 50 mils. Oh, that's not medical. 10,000 milligrams. Where do you get that from? Sayonara. Only say where you get it from if it's to help out if it's to help out Blinky, because Blinky said he's struggling. You can see up here, you might have missed it, but he reckons he's 2 bowls of CBD oil in Australia for $200 per 60 mils. 2 bowls of oil, 200. That's just unbelievable. And that strength would be probably under 10, so you wouldn't be able to work with it. So that's what it's for, sayonara, to help Blinky up. Hey, thanks for the nice feedback. Look at that. Blinky appreciates everybody here. Says, this community is wonderful. Everybody's been lovely to me. Nice. That's good. Dave, 1969, you have to become a member to be able to buy this product. Oh, that's what's going on. Oh, well. I understand there's about 30,000 people have joined so far. There's quite a few. Hello, Lene. Cheers to you and chat. Aaron says, it's a big joke and nobody wants to listen to any of us that have some education on cannabis. Yes, it's amazing. It's, you know why? Because I think they don't know what to believe. Because, for instance, if it's the doctor you're talking to, they don't know if you're full of shit or not, because they don't just know. And because they don't know herbal science, herbal health, they only know pharmaceutical health, so they might even be even more blinder. It's such a shame that we've got to rely on that. And I think in the Medicare system in Australia, it doesn't allow for any herbal practitioners which would know all about medical cannabis. So, yep. There's a few internal questions. All right. Genetic Memory Farm says, funny enough, the prevalence of CBD and a little basic chemistry has resulted in water-soluble THC and other cannabinoids. Just it's a matter of time Australia follows. Yes, well, that's all the synthetic stuff that I keep saying to stay away from. If they're going to change it and alter it, it's got to be a phytocannabinoid, not a neocannabinoid. It's not good. Sayonara says the $200 ounces I get from Tasmania Botanics, that's grown outdoor and is pretty good. Really, that's not too bad. Can you drop into chat whereabouts or what? Because once people in Australia, they've got prescription, their doctor gives them prescriptions to get the plant, and then you can get them filled at different chemists. So is that able, is it just a chemist thing, or do you have to go through your doctor to get those specific ones? Because that's pretty good, because the stuff that I've had is very dry. It's the Indica Med, it's called, and it's very dry and it's very poor quality. It's the easiest way to say it. Sayonara says, yeah, the CBD oil he gets is medical. It's compounded at local pharmacy. THC oil is becoming cheaper too. About blooming time, eh? Blinky says, Blinky's actually a 63-year-old woman. Oh, sorry, Blinky. Hey, JC Smith, how you going? She's from Canada. Fire the bowl. That's the way, mate. Talking about a bit of legislation at the moment, CBD action in Australia. What part of Canada are you from, mate? I spent 5 years on the West Coast. Aaron says, just talking internally. Sorry, man. Okay. A bit internal stuff. Righto. Very small. All right, that's it. I've caught up down the bottom. Okay, I'll keep going through the slides and go, and then because I can get on to Aaron's question to Jono's questions about the feeding times and the stuff like that. Oh, there's JC Smith in Prairie Land in Saskatchewan. Very nice. It's good, mate. All right, back to it. Into here. That's right, just did the breeding ones. And now that's right, it's a fun bit. Virgin, come aboard. Virgin Atlantic. Yes, please. Where can I buy this plane ticket? be nice to have one of them sit inside, and you sit next to a machine that exhausts the air really fast, so you can sit there and just chug away. I didn't see on the bottom. I don't know what that means. I don't mind using the word rad. It's under the microscope, so you make sure you got good stuff, man. Oh, would you like to have a look, sir? Even the book's getting into it. There you go. You rock up there, and there's a couple little hemp plants in the corner with a nice looking rug. So that's a thing for you folk. You can make these rugs. People are going to need them down the track. All the wallpaper could be in the job section. Look at that plane. Imagine that landing. You'd be, oh, here we go, mum. What's that? I think it's a little herb mill. Oh, that's probably to spin it. Instead of spinning it on your hand, you turn that little thing. I bet you. It's for those folk who can afford a little bit more. So up the front. Wow, you get a nice little selection. That'd be all right, wouldn't it? Next one. Oh, the vaping for those vape heads like myself. Very good. Next. Oh, there's a little herb mill. Looks pretty legit. Wow, what a nice little... The steward has to be walking around, or the fellow bloke, with this as your condiments. Wouldn't that be all right? Holy mackerel. Wow. It'd be like one of these per person per trip. Imagine that. Everyone would be quiet. Everyone would be just all, or probably laughing. They couldn't put comedies on. Everyone would be laughing too much. What a plane flight it'd be. Here's the oil carts. Wow. Is that Virgin? EIR, maybe not. Rolly papers, going to need some of them. Roll up the big spliffs for the big long trip. Fancy looking artwork. See that? Look at the even the cushions have it in braided. So for people who are interested in that, all this stuff's going to sell. It's becoming more legal across the world. This is very nice looking. See it. Nice snow country too. Awesome. So cool. Big boardroom up the front. Lovely decor, isn't it? Oh. Not bad at all. Well, there's the night, the style. So there's the day. Once you're talking about all your business. Okay, business finished, work's over. Oh, okay. Let's light up. Change the light mood. Pretty cool. Flowering plant. They could probably have even grow lights over here for people and have permanent plants up either side. That'd be pretty cool. Oh, and this was put, I put this in because it's a plane related today. And this is, I'm a big greenie as well. So this is hydrogen aircraft. So they're saying now that they can build passenger planes that are going to be run off hydrogen. And you know, the atmosphere has, oh geez, is it 79% hydrogen? 78, and it's a high amount in the atmosphere. So it's a good, yeah, for long distance travel for the future. See if there's anything's been written. Oh, yep. Just a bit of internal chat. Very good. Dave says, if anyone here wants to get onto Australian Medical, try contacting Myodin. They have good doctor who can put you onto good, cheap medical cannabis. And Myodin spelled M-Y-E-D-E-N. Thanks, Dave, 1969. Good on your mate. And out the community. Johnny, who cares? I'm about to make a vape pen to sell. All I want to do is organic ones. Huh? I'm about to make vape pens to sell, yeah. In Thailand, they're legal over there. And you want to do organic ones. Well, to do organic ones, you've got to have organic source of your ingredients you're putting in there. Your oil that you're putting in there has to be organic, and your cannabinoids and trikes, like your wash that you'll get, that you'll be dunning, that's going to be organic too. Then you could confidently call it organic. But being in Thailand, mate, I don't know, anything sells. I'm not going to tell you to do anything wrong, but that's how to do it right. JC Smith, nice. That's awesome, Jono. Yes, Jono, it is, mate. Remember the carrier fluid? Actually, they've got more advanced ones now. I can't really help you with this. I'm not going to get you tangled up because you're probably already on a good path. Let's get back to some of your questions, Jono. Is that where we're up to? Oh, no, we're up to here. Share screen, nearly there. Hello. Hydrogen, yes, next. How rad's this? I love this. Look at the old deer. Got a nice little units in the wheelbarrow. How cool is that? So I love it. Very, very cool. They're all right looking. Still going to get a harvest. Not dying or anything. Not virused up. This is a cool little picture. Cannabinoid analysis. Let's sit down. Let's like to see what's going on here today. All right. What sort of chemistry do you have under there? Got the new pics. There's Mountain Man. Hello, Mountain Man. Thank you for the people that support. I appreciate it. Ken of Jobs. How can you cool folk earn some money out of it? If you're artistic, you can do it like this. If you're a virgin, remember, you can do all of their linen. Bring back some cool art, like this one. What people used to do 100 years ago for fun. Let's go kick a can. Okay. That's a great old game, they reckon. And people in North America, here's your legal cannabis site. You can go and get heaps of jobs off. And work in cannabis. And last slide, Trudeau Tower in the Netherlands. This is a legit place in the Netherlands. Excuse me. So they've gone a bit overboard with their greenery, but it's really good for this day and age. You know how it's helping. So I'm surprised to see there's one. Surprised to see no big bushes. So I've got another photo of a place in the Netherlands where one place's neighbour is trying to outcompete another neighbour, and they've got their plants out here. I think that's all. That's all. Let's get to some questions. Jono, who cares? Has some rag questions right up the top. So he starts with, here's some questions. If we can start with growing in cocoa and perlite, the differences between organic versus cocoa. Well, cocoa can be organic. Just make sure that the medium's flush before it starts, so that it's virtually got nothing in it. And then you can go and grow organically and put organic amendments on top and within it. I hope that answers that question. Next, then what do the numbers mean on the bottles? Yep, the CalMag has 400, so that's a nitrogen of 4 NPK. So the first ones, actually I should be pulling up some bit more technical stuff. I'm going to show some slides. I've got time. You want to see where all they come from. So I'll show you my slides. What was it on? Nutrients. Mineral nutrition. So what's the NPK mean? Nitrogen surfactants. This gets very technical very fast. NPK. PGRs. Highs and lows. Effects. No. Where's the very start? Nitrogen. It'd be in a course then. I'm going to have to go to a course. This is a really cool though. Open another box. No, we'll go to this one. Study nutrients, environmental soil chemistry. I reckon that one should have it. Might be too. There was a pre one that was too technical. There's the other soil ones, soil fertilizers, soil science and technology. Maybe this one this is pretty easy. NPKs. NPKs. Let's just get straight into it. All right, I'm going to go back to the other one I was on. No. I'm stuck here. No, that's what the breakdown of it is. There's the question. What do the numbers mean? NPK. So the first one is the nitrogen. Second one is the P, which is the potassium, and the phosphorus, sorry. And the third one is potassium. That's what it means from that. So they don't even go into any other nutrients. That's just a generalized thing. So for CalMag, you'll know that you're going to get 4 amounts of nitrogen out of it. So if there's nitrogen deficiency, you know you could add this amount, the chemical that you have, and it would suffice for nitrogen. It would help with it. Because magnesium, it's got, there's 4 elements around the chlorophyll molecule. It's got nitrogen in the middle, a nitrate, and then the anions around it are magnesium. So that would help in feeding a nitrogen supplement. To go a bit more and to understand the nutrients. All right, yes. That's what I was just going to get onto. What do they do and when to use them? Then hopefully if you can elaborate. Okay. I'll just go into that then, the nutrients. This was because that was exactly what this slide was up to. There's 17 essential nutrients and there's 2 beneficials. And 95% of them come from the air, which is your carbon, your hydrogen, and oxygen. And the other 5% come in these other trace forms. In the primary nutrients, which is your NPKs. Then you've got your secondaries, which is your CalMag, sulfur, silicon. Then you've got your micronutrients, which is in the trace elements, which goes right down to 1 part per billion in molybdenum. But it's still an essential part of the cannabis plant. Beneficials, that was the other one I was just talking about there. Typical concentrations of macronutrient elements sufficient for plant growth. So if you were to get the plant tissue, you would do a test on it and you should be able to see these elements inside of it that are about this range. And that's the element that it needs for its plant growth to be completed. Otherwise you'll see deficiencies. I'm really going to skim on this because this goes into heavy detail. Classification of your CH and O. Where's the other? Actually, I'm going to go to another class. This is a basic class. Go to the plant chemistry. Oh, that's not what I want. Not plant chemistry, soil chemistry. These are all the courses I've done. Soil fertilizers. Is that the best one? There was one that was just made it excellent. Environmental chemistry. Might be this one. Yeah, it's this one now. This is one of the latest. I haven't got my tablet open to see if there's any questions coming through. So maybe I should do that, because this is going to go into some decent detail. And if you want to know some questions at particular times, it might be hard. Here is the elements that the CH and O that come out of the atmosphere. And these are the forms of what the plant can take it up in. So you've got nitrogen, for instance, which has like 7 or 8 different forms it can be in. There's only 2 that the plant recognizes. So NO3, which is nitrate, or NH4, which is ammonium. So if you've got, for instance, NO2, which is nitrite, the plant won't recognize it and it can't uptake it. So it has to be converted. Nitrobacter have to convert that over to nitro to NO3. That's an example. So if you go down here, these are the elements that you actually require. And for us with phosphorus, there's 2 forms of it, the orthophosphates. We want the HPO4 minus 2, because it's a pH gradient. So this is below 7, neutral. This is above 7. So you want this element, not this one. That'll do on that bit. This gets pretty heavily pretty quick. If you see deficiencies in the plant, there's 3 immobile nutrients: manganese, boron, and calcium. So to see those deficiencies, these immobile deficiencies, that means they can't go around the plant. So it can only be out of new growth. So they can only get a nutrient there, then it stays there. The calcium sits there. So it's immobile, where most of the others are. These metal ones, it's variable, but most of them are is the easiest way to remember. Just the 3, calcium, boron, manganese, aren't. This is how the plant feeds. So the soil root hairs are here, and it does an exchange with elements that are in the substrates. So it'll be calcium, magnesium, potassium, aluminium, protons, hydrogen, and sodium are sitting there, and they're just waiting to do an exchange. So how does that happen? So it sits there and it's bound up to something, because that's a positive cation. So that'll be bound to the soil, which is a negative charge. So that'll sit next to it and be stuck there. And then it'll come close to the soil. Once it pushes out its protons, its H+, it'll want to exchange with something. So it'll happen. It'll want to put something back into it. So if it's sitting close to it, or if it can be passed through by fungi or something like that, it will get the element. So I don't know if there's any. It's a bit. I'm not going to throw that technicality into it today. It's that's a bit too technical too, I think, today. It'd be good to. Nutrient mobility and plant competition. No, you're only talking about nutrients. We've talked about mobility already. Understanding carbon-nitrogen ratio. No, good. Factors affecting soil's ability to supply nutrients. So there's so many reasons why your substrate won't supply it. So compaction, too much moisture, too much temperature, too high in one element, too high in salts, so its salinity is too high, above like 3,000 if you do a runoff ppm. Desired microbes, the pH is out. So there's so many reasons why. So if you work with organics, it'll pretty much buffer everything, and it really pulls things into line. So I have to see if there's any questions. There's got to be some questions. John's got to ask something, I reckon. Oh, and how do I see that? I've got that question up here. His next question is this. Then once I understand the process behind what I'm feeding my plants, I can expand with the temperatures, pH, etc. Exactly right, mate. Well done. And different media. Yes. You're now running 50% perlite cocoa. Okay. You got nothing for no organic matter. Bit of a shame. You need organic matter, I reckon. You'll be so surprised once you introduced some organic matter and some dry amendments. With all this information, you can elaborate on light and food. Oh, God, light's a different thing next week, mate. For example, a plant might be lacking food, but light. Yes, that's correct. I'll elaborate that another time because we'll just concentrate on nutrients today because I can go pretty deep into heavy detail on nutrients. Once you have covered the basics on the lights, we have 2 types of lights. Yes. Hopefully this will help you get some content before reach. Oh, yeah. Jono, who cares, wrote this many hours ago, and I only saw this about 3 minutes before the show. Come on. Can you remember the light ones, mate? Please even cut and paste these to share next week, and I'll elaborate on them. There's I think it's next week's an open topic as well. It goes on to say, and also with feeding, can you cover stress reduction for plants to prevent hermaphrodite plants? Example, how many lollipopping is needed as your plants grow, and does this change the feeding schedule? Holy mackerel. Yep, that's a massive question itself. Well, I can summarize that by saying hermaphrodites, you're right, is a stress event. If a cultivar has been stabilized, it will have a lower or a higher stress tolerance. So you could look at your genes. If you're constantly getting hermaphrodites and you're doing the right thing, it's probably your plants. If you're only introducing to low amounts of stress each time and they're throwing herms, you've or male, or anthers, the male bits, you can masculate it, it's called, and just remove them, or you can work with it. Depends how much you got, and it's just stress, mate. So lollipopping doesn't really help with herms. It's just a stress event. So you've caused stress, that plant to be stressed out at a certain growth stage, and that's where it's showing its bananas, its male parts, its anthers. So that covers for that one. So if you were to get it in the future, you'd grab some pollen off it, you'd put it on the cultivar next time round, grab the seeds off it, grow that seed out, and this would be after, and this is probably at the end of the 12 months. Then you know you've got your S1. Then you can work with that. You've inbred it, so that's starting to increase its homozygotics, make them more stable. Next question: uptake of nutrients. Is it possible to explain this as we if you were teaching a kid in a school but not technical, light and temperature? Yeah, we're going to ask the light next week. Temperature is even a different topic again. There's all sorts of reactions that happen from temperature. You want to keep it around room temperature. Pretend your plant is a baby, just a freshly born baby. Would that baby be crying if you put it under the conditions that you put your plants under at that certain point? That's a really good rule of thumb. Sorry if I'm asking too, mate. Don't apologise. This is what I like. So I thank you for asking too much because it's giving me direction and how I can assist, and I really like that. And these questions also help other people too, because they might just want to be a bit more clearer on different topics too. All right, we're through it. And he says, "Good morning from Thailand." That was written, wow, many hours ago. So yeah, you can even cut and paste to the next stream and put them up there, because I've already loaded that a week in advance. All right, down to the new comments. I don't think there's any. Oh yeah, there's a lot of internal talking. Oh yeah, good, there's none. Oh yes, there is. NPK. I know it sounds bad. I didn't know that. It doesn't sound bad, Jono. Everyone's going to start from somewhere, mate. There's no education out there, and there's so much fake and crap information. I wouldn't blame people for knowing the wrong thing about the stuff. So that's fine. NPK, good, we've covered that. Hey, there's Monty. How you going, Monty? Nice to see you, mate. Johnny, who cares? pH when flush. pH when flush, in between feeding. pH when you always want to have your pH to make sure it's always good, mate, because I'll get to all right. Here's pH. So what happens with pH? If I got a better one, I'll find a better one for you. I've got to study a section on pH. I'll have a better chart because that one you can't see. Plant growth and development. No. It's a nutrient section, this one. Down here there should be a pH scale. Nutrients, foliar feeding. All right. There's the phosphorus thing. I was saying about phosphorus before. Sorry, that there's two different forms. So there's the pH at 7. So we want the HPO4 minus, this one. The monovalent, not divalent, which is the one which is above it. So I'm looking for a better, clearer chart. It's not there. Okay, plant growth and development, possibly. That's what I went to before. It's more mineral. It's a mineral nutrition. So if it isn't here, it's in the wrong section. Well, it's got to be somewhere because I've got quite a few of them. I wonder if they're just down here then. pH, what I'm looking for. Looks like we're going to have to go off that other one. There's a clearer pH chart. Sorry. All right, I'm not going to look anymore. Am I still sharing? I'm not even sharing. Gee whiz. Sorry about that. People. As he's writing something out, I'm looking. What are you writing out here? I was getting low pH around 5.3 when doing my runoff and high EC, so I was flushing fresh water at 7. Perfect. Is this wrong? No, it's perfect, mate. What you do to fix that, you keep flushing to bring into your desired EC range, and then you're keeping in mind your flush. So if you're flushing now fresh water at 7, you could even put in fresh water at, say, 7.5. So every time you're going to flush it, put a load through, you're going to raise the pH a smidgen. So that's what I would do. And if I was getting runoff at 5.3, well, I'd be a bit scared, because it's the reason why your runoff is too bad is because of this reason. So these are the elements here. So your nitrogen, your phosphorus, and your sulfur and CalMag that goes into your microbes. So if you've got a pH of 5.3 down here, look up here and look at calcium and magnesium's availability. It's in the red and it's skinny. So red is virtually unavailable and skinny is extremely micronutrient, hard for it to find. So by raising the pH to 6.5, you're going to be instantly in the range in which the roots would recognize the minerals around it. So even if it has got sufficient in the substrate, just because of the pH only, it won't be able to recognize it. So pH is an absolute must in cannabis. 6.5, mate. People say hydro, they go 5.8 and stuff like that, and clone about 6 and stuff, and 6.5. Look, here it says it here. Because at 7, you're starting to go down in iron, and it goes a little bit higher, 7.5, and bang, boron's out. Your phosphorus can be starting to go low. So that's why 6.5, just below neutral, is generally pretty good, because you want to keep, and there's other micronutrients as well that adjust on this scale. So by keeping about 6.5, you're pretty sweet. Now this goes into each element. Which I'm not going to see. There's all the forms. Look at the forms of nitrogen. So even for soil testers to say, yep, we test in nitrogen, my next question to that soil company, what form of nitrogen do you test? Because I only want to know that what nitrate is available for the plants. Couldn't care less about the rest. So I just want to know the ammonium, NH4, and NO3, the nitrate. And even those companies, quite a few of them, because I'm trying to source some testing liquids that we can get, so we can just test our own, because then we can test our substrates, and we can also test plant tissue at certain stages, growth development stages, so you know exactly what's going on. No guesswork, no nothing. You can see as your cultivar, it might be a nitrogen pig, it might be a phosphorus pig like pink death butter. No, potassium, sorry, pink death butter. And you want to talk about your organics forms of nitrogen is a lot different to inorganic, because inorganic is just your ammonium nitrate. Those two elements is in a liquid. If you read your bottles, that's what it'll say on the back of it. So they've gone and put 99% water in it. They've sprinkled a smidgen of powder in of these two, and to bring it up to weight, and they've whacked a large price tag on the bottle. Or you can go with your organics, which has them bound into it, so it's immobilized. So it might be in the form of green leaves, which has nitrogen molecules inside of the chlorophyll. So that has to be the way that can be made available to the plants is by microbes. So they've got to go through and break that down into the nitrate that the plants can recognize that element for it to uptake. So that's the big difference about organics. And that's why you get little deficiencies, and it's a lot more buffered and easier, I find, than this, because you'll see deficiencies first up. And then you also pollute the environment, because all that runoff, that's just going into the eutrophication. And then see, this is an example of the temperature you asked. So just in nitrogen temperature, to do with nitrogen and temperature, see if you've got your temperature 10 degrees Celsius, or what's that, 50 Fahrenheit, you're going to get, no. There's 10 degrees and 50 Fahrenheit. You're only going to have 20% or 25% available of the nitrogen, even if it's sitting there. So if you've got a big, massive nitrogen pool sitting right next to the root hairs, it's just because of the temperature, it won't be able to uptake it, because it can't release enzymes and do its proper pathway to make the uptake process happen. But if you come up to 75 or up near, 25 Celsius, 100%. So room temperature is a good. So room temperature is 24. What's that? 78, I think, Fahrenheit. So that's what a baby would like too. So that's why I said at the start, by keeping it in a baby conditions, you will, it's just a good rule of thumb. Would it be happy or not? Plants uptake, yeah. The NH3 is the gas, ammonia. Nitrosomus, that's it. Nitrosomus converts the ammonia. I was trying to think that the other day. Classification of nitrogen-rich fertilizer. So you can go all this synthetic fertilizers, and this is the way the farmers do it. So they don't go through this hydroponics, because there's a lot more, like, look at urea, 46%. So it's you don't get any nitrogen hydroponic fertilizers that are 46%. They always say they'll be, if anything, 10, 10, 10 or something. So to get it high is hard, but this is what they do to make it. So they get it from here, water it down, generally. Then we go into, okay, nitrogen use efficiency and foliar application. That's a way that, so for organic substrates are beneficial through foliar feeding, because you'll have your deficiencies you might see from your different cultivars. and then you'll put an application of magnesium or nitrogen or something on a foliar application of 100 parts per million, and it should reduce its levels of showing its problems. That'll do, I reckon. There's probably a few questions. Oh, yes. Thought this was wrong. High pH would raise pH. High pH would raise. Yes, it would on your runoff. Yes, cool. Oh, good. Everything I have read was telling me, well, in general, well, that's just knowing it now from the pH. You can do your own. So from showing that, it's taught you, you can see what your cultivar likes. Will it work well? Are you getting better growth and development at 6.2, or are you getting both better at this? To be honest, 6.2 to 6.5 is what I was always happy at. With my little, it always used to go about yellow color, piss color in my little test thing. And I don't use any, with your pH testers, I use analog testers because from buying so many pH meters, I was sick of it. And then you got to calibrate it, store it right, all this sort of shit. So you just get a bottle of the good pH. I use General Hydroponics, and I bought a massive bottle of it. And then I just know it's about the light yellow color. And as long as there's no red on it, it's sweet. Red's acid and green's neutral. So I stay in the yellow piss color. So it's, and then it goes darker and lighter and all sorts of, so you know what pH has got. So that's just a good thing to, if you're going to be a grower for a while, grow your own medicine, then where it's legal, you should look into doing something like that. Jono, who cares, says, and I have had arguments about it. My partner keeps telling me, grow one plant separately and keep it at about 6.5. And I bet you won't get any sorts of deficiencies starting to happen. And then it's the biggest thing. It's the pH that has people stuffing up. It's not the nutrient availability, because it would be available if it was the right pH to them, they would find. How you going, Ava Sandercook? Hope you're going all right. Bit of a question and ask if you've got any questions at the moment. Johnny, who cares, says, I'm getting bigger buds now with the flush in between feeds. That's, yep, because the reason is because of your salinity. Let's go into that bit. I've nearly been to the hour. I'll go while we're on nutrients now, because that's what's happening with your salinity, has been more available to the plants. I wonder if I've actually, let's go to, we'll be right at the end of this. When it's you've got too much salts in the substrate, when it's not available. There we go. There's a clearer one of the chart before. So if you want a screenshot right now, there's and put this on your wall. This will show you. If you're getting 5.5 runoff, you're definitely going to get a phosphorus and a CalMag deficiency. No matter how much CalMag you pump into it, all that you'll do is make your runoff higher ppm, which will give you a saline, too much salts. Remember, you've already had that. And that's probably why you've got your cultivar over there that has the 5,000 parts per million that grows fine, because people in your area have done this practice for so long, mate, that's all they're used to. So they've got a cultivar that's just used to that type of being suffocated with nutrients. Here's a bit of an example. If you put too much nutrients around here, it doesn't know what to pick. It can't pick them. It'll pick the heaviest one. It can't breathe properly is the best way to put it. So that's why salinity is a major problem. I'm sure we'll get to there. Soil fertility, plant tissue testing. No, it was soil testing. Come on. Procedures, calibration. No. Soil health. Oh, gosh. Oh, this might have it actually in here. Important chemical attributes for good soil quality. Your pH has to be correct in the range you want. Organic carbon. You have to have available nitrogen. Remember, there's many forms of unavailable. And so you want your available, so your nitrate and your ammonium or your H2PO4 minus, not your plus, and then your potassium. And calcite, you want to make sure that that's one. You don't want the other forms of calcium. Soil quality factors. Okay, this is going to get into it too detailed. Correcting soil acidity. Well, yeah. You've got ways you've already fixed that. Comparative. Organic residues, managing acidic soil. It gets into it too detailed. Measurements of salt-affected soil. So why is this salinity? So that's what I was just talking about then. If you've got saline soil, that means your parts per million and your runoff are going to be above 3,000. I've got a good chart for that somewhere. That's how to fix it up. Manure with fertilizers, components of sustainable. I suppose I should say that was gypsum is if you've got a high acidic soil, and liming is if you're low. So if you want to raise your pH, lime. If you want to lower it, gypsum. Because of all the processes that happen. I'm going to bore people. Farmyard manure. Farmyard manure shouldn't be. It's so beneficial as an amendment. I use it. I use Rupu too. I use compost, organic worm castings. Oh, all right, 20% organic compost, 20% organic worm castings, and 10% manure, farmyard manure, and 50% aeration, maybe perlite. And you reuse your aeration too, because you've gone and made little microbe homes for the microbes. So like a biochar, but it's not biochar because it's out of burnt material. But you've got homes in there that they've formed little aggregates in there, and microbes, bacteria, they'll put out biofilm to stop others bacteria coming in their area so they can create little colonies. So you've done that in your aeration. So I reuse my aeration. And as you know, aeration will float. So when you're finished with your crops, with your plants, cut it off, tip the pot in water, and then you can go and allow all the aeration to float. You'll get bits of root and stuff, but that's organic matter. So try and get that out, because you want already processed organic matter. You don't want it to be like breaking down in your substrate, because that's going to cause other processes that you want to stay away from. So I try and use harvested or mature compost is the best way. Yeah. These are different ways to get. Actually, I'm going to go into too much detail, I think. What else questions can I answer? There's only 2 watching now. What happened to... I'm getting bigger buds with flushes in between feeds. Yeah, that's because your salinity and faster growth. That's why, because of salinity. I hope that answered that question. Hey, and Sander Cook, please don't put too many symbols in there. This is a medical cannabis program, mate. Just questions, please. What happened here? It's still going. All right, is that enough, Jono? Who cares? What other questions do you have? Because I can really go on about this for hours. I've done shows just on nutrients, plant nutrients before. But if you got any more questions, put it in the chat right now. Because for some reason, it seems like there's only 3 people watching. One of them's me, I reckon. So it's 2. So something happened. 4. I don't know what's going on. All right. Jono must have gone. That's strange. There was about there was probably 10 people, and all of a sudden there's 3. I'm not sure what happened, because I don't know how much I should be talking anymore, what to elaborate on. All right, how about save your questions for next week, because I don't know what's going on. Everything seems to have stopped, but yet I'm still recording because I can still see my numbers going up. Jono writes dry times. So Jono's still there. What's the other question, Jono? Come on, I think I've answered it all. I'll just scroll back to the top. I think I've answered them all, mate. Dry times. Feeding times. Well, feeding times is you have to work out how heavy the pot is. So if I've got a room, let me show you a video. Show you something. Actually, I think I can get your video here. Videos. Feeding. I'm looking for a video. Edited. It's an unreleased one on my YouTube. Root size. I might just go to my YouTube then. Play it off that. Yep, because I can't see it there. You're here, you say, okay, good. As long as someone is, and I'm not talking about them and no one. Where's, okay, my channel. Then I'm going to look for the video with I wonder if it shows the unreleased ones. I should have went to YouTube Studio, I think. Flushing. Yeah. All right, I'll go to YouTube. I'm not sharing the screen. So I'm trying to find a video about feeding time so I can talk. I'll talk over the video because the video's got some good stuff to talk over. So let's find it. Looking through the videos. Here we go. Flushing medical cannabis for perfect white ash. It's been. I should just release it, eh? Okay, I will. I'll just give you a sneak peek first. Yeah, I'll make it. Are you a member? So members can see it. There you go. Members can see it. They can go back and watch it. So I think you're a member. And for those who aren't, you can get it to view it right now. So see what I'm on about. Okay, now the video's ready to go. We've got to share screen. Oh, I'm not sharing the screen, am I? Here we go. Share screen. So in between feeds. So you want to know about feeding teams on here. I would have asked questions, but got a cold and next week.
So my last flush this way, I'm changing the floor system around.
So this is in Canada. Oh, there you go. BC, Canada, 2016. So what I used to do, I don't know if you can hear it. I'll just mute it. So what I used to do is I'd have my stopwatch there, and I'd go around and I'd work out on each pot on how much it weighed. So you can see the room. That'll do. So in each pot, I'd go up, I'd draw a map out of the room, and I'd put each plant there, so like a circle. And then I put a number in each side of 1 to 10. So if it's really wet, it's a 10. If it's really dry, it's a 0. So I did that. And then you can go, then at the end, you got, and all I do was lift it on one side. Lift, 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 right down. Lift, 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 right down. Lift. That's how I did it that fast. And then you can work out how many set on the wand. So there's a watering wand, how many seconds it gets. So that's, then I'll times it out usually by 2, because it depends on how much your watering wand holds, and you'll know. So that's how I did the room. That come out pretty bad, but by you writing it down, you've got an idea of how much you put in each pot. So you might hold for 2 seconds on the watering wand, 1, 2. Then do that in the dry ones, as an example, when you go all the way around. Then you find out, oh shit, I need more. So your next time you'll do it, you might do it on 3 seconds on each pot. But to test your watering wand, you put water in a pot, suck it, so 2 liters of water will go into your pump, and then you'll pull the trigger on and time it and see how many liters per minute you pump out. Then you can work out how much solution goes into each pot. So that's it going around there. There's the room. And then I have a stopwatch on. So there's back to the pump. That's the reservoir where it used to pump from. That's where it runoffs to. So see, I can test that. I want to make sure I test it. And see up the top, 500 parts per million and above equals dark ash. 300 parts per million equals grey ash. 100 parts per million and below equals white ash. So this at the moment is testing, I think, maybe 1,000 or 2,000. So that means I've got to put multiple amounts of water through it to get it down to these numbers. And that's, you want to have these numbers 2 or 3 days before harvest, so that it's had enough time to suck up and eliminate things from the roots, to all its nutrients in its tissue as well. And if you've got grey leaves, really dark green leaves, this isn't going to mean much to you. This is only cleaning out the substrate. So this is finishing your substrate. So then you've got to also let the top, the phytosphere finish as well. So yeah, this is how to, because you want to stop feeding like 2 or 3 weeks before harvest if you're doing synthetics. Organics is a lot different, because you just top dress and use water. So you'll make sure that you won't retain nutrients around your harvest times as well. Yeah, I'll release this video, I suppose. So it's 350, see? So that means I've got to put quite a few more times to get it down below. I think I say all the numbers in there, but I just don't know if you can hear it or not. See how that's a little bit too dark green? So this must have been a few weeks before it. So if I want this to, if this is going to be picked in 2 weeks, I want them to be starting to senesce. So this has got to be at least really low parts per million. If I'm getting run off at 1,500 at the day 40, I want at day 44, I want the runoff to be 1,000 parts per million. Day 48, I want the runoff to be at 1,600 parts per million. So that's on day 48. By day 52, you'll have your 300 parts per million. By day 55, you'd have your 100 parts per million. So it gives the plants to eat themselves for quite a few days as well, which that would allow it to go through its senescence period, which means the top phytosphere would be yellowing and using all its nutrients in its sugar leaves, and then the nutrients won't be retained in its rhizosphere down the bottom, and it would all be senescing fine. So reducing the amount of elements that have been retained in the plant, and we're really only concentrated in the flower bit. So yeah, to get that nice and senescence and just eating the sugar leaves is what I really aim to do each time. And then will make the smoke like as if it's there's no throat hit, no head hit, no nothing, like as if it's smooth. You'll find you won't cough much, but you'll be really, really affected. Yeah. But that's because it's very important to test my runoff, so I'm going to make sure. Don't know what else I'm saying here.
I think.
Oh, here we go. Oh, I just did go and explain what I...
Starting to finish. Good.
I just wrote on the screen what I explained manually. Oh, here we go. Got to get a bit of bud porn before we go. This would have been maybe Death Bubba or Gorilla Glue. God's green crack cross blue cheese. Yum. I missed that one. Yes, God's Amnesia Haze was just so stanky and lovely. Holy mackerel. It was super strong. Okay, so I've got to put that up there too. All right, I'll skip through it. That's not really helping out.
I took cuttings off, and Death Bubba, I got it down to 300. It's all yellowing. And these are all 500.
There you go. So I'm talking about one I retained at 300 and one I retained at 500 parts per million, so you can see the difference.
See, it's jack shit yellow. So you have to get it under 300.
I reckon that would have helped. Drawing times in between fields on here. Sayonara, I would have asked questions but got a cold and need to rest. See you next week. Okay, thanks mate. See you then. Wow, I didn't know all that. Thanks, says John. Who cares? He says, thanks CC. If you have time, can we talk live after the show? Yep. Oh. Well, ask questions, anybody, if you would like. I can spare 5 minutes for you, Jono. How do I do that? Remember, I'm not into anything illegal. Just letting you know and everybody else know these days. No. There you go. There's the link. So if you press that, you can come up. Looks like the show's going to end here. So yeah, please bring next week some core questions. I'll just see what we're actually doing next week. Gosh. Yeah, I'll show you. So everyone's going, why can't I see Jack? Because I like when people show stuff. I hope it's this one. Yeah, open topic. Australia Day. It's Australia Day. Woohoo! So there's a few Australian stuff I can show, but not much. Australia opened their first taxpayer-funded cannabis greenhouse. Yeah, good, eh? Yep, the rich get richer. Just some other, just basic stuff. To be honest, not much. I'll be struggling. So I really would like some questions next week because it's not much at all. That's why it's for an open topic. And even the weeks after that, there's not a great deal at the moment. But there'll still be a show. I'll still try. All legal, have license. Very good. That's good, mate. Well, free the weed. Peace. Yes, JC Smith. Come around again, mate. If you come in here next week, I'll. You seemed pretty nice. I'll what's it called? Monetize you, if you want. Because yeah, cool Canadians. You know you got Death Bubba 2 out in the middle. They just renamed it. Yes. So I used to live on Vancouver Island for a while. Quite good. But yeah, well, Jono, who cares? Hit that link, and then you can pop up, and then I'll end the show because I've been through everything. And just for those, I suppose I'll show that right at the end again because I'm going to show this over the next few weeks because it's positive and it's for Australia, and we've got Jack. So this is where you go to that TAFE website in Ballarat, and they offer the first medical cannabis cultivation course. Accredited. Yeah, that's the main thing in Australia because Australia's powers that be, they don't believe studies, they don't believe scientists or anything. They need to do the stuff for themselves and then they're happy. That's why, that's the excuses that I've got. So, very good. So yeah, thanks everybody again. I hope you have a fantastic week, and appreciate you for listening, giving me your time. Very nice. And yeah, that's all. Happy breeding, happy growing, good health to you all. Bye-bye.